Be honest. Did you know what the Posse Comitatus Act was before Donald Trump became president? I'm a lawyer for 35 years and I barely did, but certainly it's all seared into our brain now. We just had a federal judge, Judge Breyrer, declare for the first time in history that he's watching a president create an illegal and unconstitutional federal police force where he's the chief. We call that a standing army. It's unconstitutional. It violates the Posse Comitatus Act. You can't have a paramilitary troop that you use against the American people for civil law enforcement purposes and not violate the Constitution. That began an epic losing streak this week against Donald Trump. I mean, the opposition to Donald Trump, and that's everybody else, has been winning at a 93% clip in federal courts. Just had another amazing week there. We've got federal judges finding that Donald Trump violated the Alien Enemies Act, the Posse Comitatus Act, the First Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. I'm running out of fingers. I'm running out of amendments in order to track what Donald Trump is doing. But I track it all for you on The Intersection, a podcast I do Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. on the Midas Touch Network. Here's a clip to whet your appetite. Let's move on with our checklist for today. Posse Comitatus ruling. I just interviewed Rob Bonta, the Attorney General, the general who led the charge that won today. A big, fat ruling, first time in history that a president has been declared to have violated the Posse Comitatus Act. For people that want to know what that is, I'll give you the elevator pitch for the Posse Comitatus Act. It means that the might of the U.S. military forces cannot be used on domestic soil for civilian law enforcement purposes. You can't turn them into a cop to use against Americans. That's at the heart of our constitutional republic. That is part of our bedrock principles, starting with the Declaration of Independence. We have not and will not allow a president to have a standing army, or in the words of Judge Breyrer today, a national federal police force with the president as its chief. I mean, that's what we're watching, right? We're watching Trump before our very eyes try to build a national law enforcement, militia that he can use on domestic soil. That is anathema to everything that we're about as Americans. Our military is only supposed to be used for national security, for outward attacks, or to protect Americans, but not to use as civil law enforcement. That's what local law enforcement is for. That's what sheriffs are for, and police officers, and other groups, and the use of the National Guard by states when necessary, not the feds. That's a bridge too far. And what Judge Breyrer said today, after a 3-day trial, than which he took in a lot of evidence, is that the Trump administration has clearly violated the Posse Comitatus Act by using Marines combined with federalized National Guard to conduct civilian law enforcement, searches and seizures and arrests and perimeters and traffic stops and the rest. And that is a direct violation not only of their training, but of the Posse Comitatus Act, which we've had since 1787, which stems from our breaking away from the King of England, King George, and founding America, because he had standing armies, because he used the military against American colonists, because he allowed the military without civilian control to terrorize the future Americans. And we said never again. Donald Trump is building a federal police force. He's spending $200 billion to hire tens of thousands of ICE and Border Patrol agents. He's hiring them out of high school without proper training, giving them a badge and a gun when they're 18 years old, cutting their training in half, not doing proper due diligence, using white supremacist Nazi propaganda like recruiting posters and digital media, which are all filled with Rockwell paintings of white people, talking about their heritage, talking about you want to chase illegals with your absolute boys and all sorts of other things that smack of white supremacy. There is no I have no confidence at all. In fact, I'm confident the other way, that Donald Trump's going to hire, as part of this national police force, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, Jan 6 insurrectionists, White Klansmen, Ku Klux Klansmen, and the rest. I don't think those are disqualifying credentials. I think that gets you the job in the Trump administration. He's recruiting like that's what he wants. He's using their propaganda and their tropes to get people. He got 100,000 applicants in 2 weeks. They're not screening any of them. And if you think that's not a problem, in the past, when we lowered our standards, hired people that were ill fit and borderline criminals or criminals for these positions, what did we get? Border Patrol agents who were members of drug cartels. That's happened in the past, who committed murders and sexual abuse and kidnapping. It's going to happen again under Donald Trump because he's the opposite of in favor of law enforcement. You know, he's got this thing about all of his cabinet members who sat around on Tuesday praising the great leader from North Korea. It's nice to see your big smiling face on the Labor Department, Your Honor. Fearless leader. You know, trying to prop up his failing health in the public mind. It's all we watched. And they've got this thing that, you know, he is the law and order president. The law and order president led 1,600 insurrectionists who attacked our Capitol, tried to burn it to the ground, and tried to assassinate elected officials. He let them out the front door of the prison. And he continues with it. He settled with Ashley Babbitt's family. She was this close to leading a group of insurrectionists down the speaker's hallway to kill Nancy Pelosi and others. Her family now got $5 million for wrongful death, and she's now being given military honors by President Trump, allowed to be buried at Arlington or wherever her service that she was once a part of, as Donald Trump rewrites history. So when Judge Breyrer, and I have a full hot take up on Legal AF about this and on Legal AF Substack, and I just had the interview with Rob Bonta that's going up tomorrow morning at about noon Eastern time that you should watch on Legal AF YouTube. When you have Judge Breyrer saying out loud, not only that the president is forming a federal police force under his control, which is illegal, but he then gives the scenarios in the decision in which he says, what's to stop Donald Trump now? If I don't stop him with this ruling, what's to stop him from declaring that in order to promote the rules and to execute the laws around election laws, I've heard rumors that there is election fraud going on. So I need to use the federalized National Guard and the Marines to cancel elections, seize voting machines, stop mail-in balloting, absentee balloting, seizing the ballots and counting them myself, or discarding them. What's to stop him from doing that? This is what Judge Breyrer posed today as the potential ramifications of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals earlier ruling that allowed Trump to commandeer the National Guard. But this new ruling by Judge Breyrer is the first of its kind. It says that Donald Trump cannot, or it violates the Posse Comitatus Act, use the federal military on domestic soil for civilian law enforcement purposes. He issues an injunction. He blocks the Trump administration. He declares it. He makes the findings. He stayed the case for about till next Friday to give the parties time to go to seek their appeals. But this needed to be done and will be the blueprint, this 52 pages, for future judges. Welcome back. I sit at the intersection of law and politics like you know it over the last 5 years. I do it in various places, including a new podcast, Tuesday nights over on the Midas Touch Network. So there's ways to help that show stay around, stay alive, keep it up in the ratings. Watch it on YouTube. We have commercial-free versions on Legal AF Substack, another way to support what we do here on Legal AF. Audio podcast platforms. Go over there, download it, listen to it, leave 5-star reviews and comments, which I read. It all helps keep the show on the air if you like that kind of work. And while you're here on Legal AF YouTube channel, hit the free subscribe button as well. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touches Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.